Today we're going to make apricot kolaches, which is a traditional Hungarian or Eastern European cookie, and it's a flaky cream cheese dough that's wrapped around an apricot filling that's made with dried apricots. They look like they're super difficult, but I promise you they're easier than they look. Let's get into it. So first step is we're going to make our dough really fast because it has to chill. There's only 4 ingredients in the dough, so it's not difficult at all. So first we're going to cream our butter and our cream cheese. You can totally do this with a hand mixer. Mine just broke, so me. Paddle. Let's beat them together really well. So while this is beating, we are gonna start making our filling as well. So I've got dried apricots here. I'm gonna make apricot kolaches. So this is dried apricots, which means you can make this any time of year. And then I'm just gonna cover the apricots with a layer of water. And then I'm gonna turn this on, and I'm gonna let it come to a boil. So all we wanna do is let our apricots kind of soften, and then I'm gonna add my sugar and continue to cook them. Back to our dough. Turn this back up. Scrape down the sides. Okay, so I'm going to quickly whisk together I just have a little bit of salt and my AP flour. I'm going to turn my mixer back on, and I'm going to slowly add my flour mixture, okay? You don't want to overwhelm it. Last little bit. Okay. Boop. There she is. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Just kind of smash it down. It'll help it chill faster, and also will be easier to roll later when you're not rolling a big ball of dough. And we're going to chill this for at least 2 hours. You can chill it overnight if you'd like to make it ahead, but we're just going to do 2 hours. So, meanwhile, our apricots have started to soften. It is boiling in here. You don't want to cook out all the water, so if you are if your water is getting low, then you're going to want to add a little bit more. You can just kind of keep adding water just to make sure that there's some water in there. Okay, so our apricots have kind of plumped up, and they're they're super kind of soft, and they absorb most of that water that I put in there. So I'm going to add my sugar now, and then we're going to keep cooking them. So we're going to cook them until it gets kind of thick and syrupy, and then we're going to immersion blend them. Okay, so they are nice and thick and syrupy. And they've softened a lot, and that's exactly what we want. All right, so then we're going to immersion blend this. You could also put this into a food processor or a Vitamix. Whatever you have, that's what you should use, but you will need to use something. And do be careful because it is hot. And we're just going to immersion blend. Now it depends on how you like your filling. I don't mind a few little stray chunks of apricot in there. I'm not looking for like baby food consistency, so I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. Okay, so just kind of get it all off of the immersion blender. I like the immersion blender method because then you don't have to clean a different machine. You don't have to try and get it out of a Vitamix. Okay, so we've got a nice paste here. If I felt it was a little too runny at this point still, I put it back on the heat and I would kind of cook it down a little bit more, but I'm happy with this, so I'm going to cool it. If you're not new around here, you know that I like to cool things quickly. No fan of the waiting. So I like to cool sauces and things like that, fillings, on a quarter sheet tray or a half sheet tray so that it'll be easy cleanup, and I'm not trying to get this sticky mess off of anything. So I'm just going to spread that out on my sheet here. All right, and then I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap. Poke a little hole just to make sure that some steam can escape and it cools down quickly. And then I'm going to pop this in my refrigerator. Okay, so our dough and our filling have chilled completely, and we are ready to assemble and bake our cookies. Our filling is pretty cold, I'm going to transfer it to a piping bag just to make it easier to get onto the cookies. You can definitely just use a teaspoon and kind of scoop it on there, whatever you find easiest for the dough. You could roll this out on flour, but we are going to roll it out in sugar. So go ahead and put some sugar on your bench. And by some, I mean like a lot. Come on. So just plop that on there. We're just going to roll it fairly thin. I was taught to roll it about a 1/16 of an inch. Sometimes it's hard to get it thin when you're rolling it out in the sugar. And if it's resisting, then just try and kind of brush some of the sugar away from the bottom. I also find that to get it thinner, a French rolling pin is helpful, because that way I can kind of apply direct pressure where I need to. So it's going to help me get it thinner without, you know, having to put as much effort into it. Okay, we are ready to cut. So I've got it's a pizza cutter, and we're going to cut them about 1.5 inch squares. So I'm just going to roll that one. Just make my strips. And then we're going to go the same, try and make a square in the opposite direction. Now if you made your strips different widths, then you're going to get rectangles, and there's nothing you can do about that except go each row by each row, which is fine. You can totally do that. Next, I am going to put a little dollop of my filling in the center of each one, like about 1/2 teaspoon. If you put too much filling, it's gonna make them open up. If you don't put enough, well, that's sad. So we'll just go ahead and put a little dollop in the center of each one. You'll notice that my squares are not all squares, some of them are rectangles, and I feel like some of the charm of these kolaches is that they're all a little individual. Okay, so next up is we're going to take the two opposite corners, and we're going to fold them over onto each other. And then kind of just press them together. They do have a tendency to pop open, and honestly, I say there's no harm in that. But if you want, you can you can maybe touch one side with a little bit of egg white, and then press that. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to press all of them together. Make sure that you do press firmly in the center. Make sure that, you know, it does seal itself. I think the sugar also helps seal it as well. So if you're not doing the sugar, you might definitely want to do the egg whites. And then we're just going to take them, once they're done, we're going to put them on the tray. You want them to be like about 1 inch apart. Okay, so we are going to pop these in our oven that I've preheated to 375. We are going to check them in about 5 minutes just to see what's up. So you can chill these before you bake them, but if you chill them, then the dough and the butter is going to re-solidify, and they're going to puff even more, and they're going to be more likely to pop open. So I do not chill my kolaches or kiffles before I bake them, because I want to ensure, to the best of my ability, that they don't pop open. The kolaches are out. A lot of them did open. I pressed some of them back together when they were still kind of like, when I checked on them in the oven. But they baked about 8 minutes. So it really depends on the size and the thinness of your dough and how long it's going to take. But as soon as they start to get kind of golden brown on the bottom and they get a little golden brown on the sides, then they're done. So now we just let them cool. I know, sigh. The moment we've all been waiting for, it's time to try. So I've got, oh, but like how cute is she? So cute, huh? Yum. With a bit of flakiness from the cream cheese crust. It's super savory, and you have like the sweet apricot filling. It's like a little crispy. There's like a little caramelization on the bottom from the sugar. Oh, these are awesome.